Good morning, everyone. I recently discovered screen recording and I decided to share some of my resources by taking you through the photos of each and discuss them with you briefly. And please let me know if you are interested in some of them so that I can maybe guide you to the places that you can purchase them. Most of these are from Amazon, or some of them are specially designed website like special education teaching resources website. So we have what we have, of course, through ongoing maintaining resources, ongoing collecting resources, and this is how the box has become the way it is. It's not a result of a one day thing. So I hope you find it useful. So this one is a sensory box that, as you can see, I have the screw toy here, which is really good for aiming at an object and helping child to develop his or her focus and hand and eye coordination by hitting with the screw, aiming at each of these screws, which is really good, and it maintains the focus, and the child can see the end result. Once the screws goes down, he can see the end result of his action. So it's kind of a cause and effect toy, as well as the provides hand and eye coordination. And these balls are here. Some of them are soft, some of them are hard, they are spiky, they feel different. For example, some of them are squeezy, and this one here, that squeezy, but inside it has like different material similar to that of rice. When you squeeze it, you can hear a bit of squishy sound. And these two balls here are again squeezy balls, so you can see for yourself which one your child likes the most. Sometimes I might start my teaching session with this very simple brush, which you can find it in painting shops or anywhere, like any shops that might sell. This is for painting walls, but you can use this brush for gently stroking from one arm, starting to the other, and finishing by the handle, palm of a hand. So you can do these strokes, gentle strokes, regularly, counting from maybe 1 to 20. Depending on the child's, you will understand if he or she is enjoying it. And this, for example, here is a harder brush compared to this one. This is harder, and that's the hardest. And it just, throughout the sessions, it may be different. Some days I might just stroke my students' arms or hands with this one. On other days, it could be maybe a harder brush that he might choose. So these are just helping the child bring sensory feedback back to his body and provide sense of balance so that he can focus on the tasks I'm providing. So that's that. And after sensory, one more picture I want to show, then I'm going to move on to some more educational activities. The orange one is a heavy ball. I think it's about 3 kilograms, and it's good for throw and catch, as well as providing child's hands pressure because it's quite heavy. Some of my students like to hold on to it because they like the pressure feelings inside their hands. Some just feel confident being able to throw and catch such a heavy ball, so it helps in that way. And this one is again is very light but spiky. The feeling of it is good, so you can purchase similar balls like that and engage in throw and catch games, rolling the ball games. So it provides you that. And then maybe move on to more making things kind of activities. For example, the starlings, where you just, it's not very easy. It's again fine motor skills required, good balance, good focus for that. They go into one another. The child has to hold them in a right angle and push them to each other so that they click. And in the end, you can make shapes like that, vehicles, animals. You can just play like that. And I like the bristle blocks. They go into each other again. They click nicely, and you can make shapes. You can make a huge identical lines of like castle. It's nice. And then after this kind of engaging resources. You can move on to peg puzzle. This large peg puzzle is good for hand grip. Before jigsaw puzzles, you might as well try this to see if your child is able to hold a peg, nice grip, like a pencil grip, to put it on each shape, on each of these shapes, and correctly into their holes. You can see that. Some more different ones here. So you can just see if you can hold small or big pegs puzzle. And then after that, you might move on to block design. You can draw your own from blocks, help the child put them onto the picture, onto this design, and then help him to do it, same design next to it. As we can see, there are lots of specially designed resources. Of course, Shape Sorter, one of the best ones to start your child. See if your child looks at the whole, the shape, and then the shape in his or her hand, then place it, rather than forcing it into each shape, trial and error, kind of putting the shapes in. So you must just observe the child and see how much he or she understands what he's doing. And what else we have here? And for example, you could do, after that, building all that focus, all that educational activities, you can start maybe matching picture to word. These are, it helps the child understand some familiar objects, become more like giving more exposure to know what, some object may look like in writing, in text. So that kind of awareness can develop. 3-letter words I really like as well. You just have to see, once your child is ready academically, he needs to be more aware for making words and engaging in communication. Before that, I recommend you to engage in sensory and kind of making toys like that before even trying to teach your child alphabet. For example, mathematically, logical order of something from small to big. You need to also check that kind of understanding before school-related activities. So before I go, I really hope you find this resources useful. My advice can be, actually, just try to take your child into education gradually. Do not rush. The reason I say that, if you rush into school curriculum kind of education for your child who has a diagnosis with special needs, it could be ADHD, autism, maybe a delay in language or whatever that is, you may find yourself them trying to do the activities rudely rather than learning. They're just following you and relying on you so much. But rather, you find specially designed resources for them to touch, to feel, to make, then understand how things work, what kind of orientation they have to hold an object in order to reach the end result. So this is important, rather than rushing into conventional educational curriculum that most children in mainstream schools follow. You have to accept and understand children with special needs, and maybe all children, requires specially designed resources for them to engage in learning and understand in ways that will help them, rather than just sitting and becoming academically similar to majority of children in mainstream. So let's not worry about that. Let's just try to see however the learning occurs, rather than trying to make them similar, engage in similar activities. So let's find their way of learning. Every child is unique, they are individual, they learn differently, you learn differently, I learn differently. We need different types of learning activities. So I hope you find it useful, and thank you for your time once again. And I just leave it here, and maybe hopefully see you on my next screen recording video. Bye.